A while back, guys, we did a video covering the subject of riding on roads you don't know. And on that video, I got a lot of nice comments and feedback from Janelle, Steven, Mr. ID, GAF, Go Hard or Home. But one comment by Richard M. made a great point. He said even though the video was right on about riding on roads you don't know, he said the one thing you can never do is let your guard down on roads you do know. And you know, Richard, that is an excellent point. So today, guys, we're going to cover that subject. Riding on roads you do know. So let's talk about riding on roads you know. And whether you're ridden these roads in a car and then you got a bike, or whether you ride them all the time when you're on the bike, your favorite roads, whatever. We all tend to, as motorcyclists, when we ride on the roads that we do know, we tend to take for granted that everything's going to be great, everything's going to be fine, and that we're going to have no problems. We know every turn, we know every pothole, we know everything about that road. Well, actually we don't. And that's where you can't let your guard down when riding on roads you know. Because there are plenty of factors that come in that could make you have a really bad day on roads you do know. In minutes it can change. You can go down a road one way, come back the next way, next thing you know, there's all this stuff in the road, a tree's down, there was a car accident, anything. So even though you know that road and you just went down it and you're coming back the other way, conditions change quickly. And as much as you want to rip that road as you ripped it going down, you know, you got to be cautious. You can't, you know, let it all hang out just because you know the road. When you're riding on roads you know, don't use 100% of your limit, because you're going to need some of that just in case. Like on roads you don't know, you use the same technique on roads you know.
You know, I find it common for me on roads that I know to let my guard down. It's almost to the point where I'm not paying a goddamn bit of attention to what I'm doing. And in fact, over the years, I've come close a couple times to falling asleep on a motorcycle, because I got so mesmerized and I knew the route so well, and I caught myself falling asleep. I said, well, you can't. No, I experienced it. You can fall asleep on a motorcycle. I mean, in that route, if you're tired enough or mesmerized enough, you can fall asleep anywhere, even standing on your feet, because I've done that too. But, you know, we said, well, use things, you know, get your abilities up on roads you know. And that's a good thing. There's no safe road out there. You know, if you ride enough, you look at turns, and turns are a big thing with riding a motorcycle. It's pretty easy to ride in a straight line, more or less. You stay out of potholes, maintain a lane position, use some road strategy, try and predict what's going to happen. But turns is what gets you in trouble. And you ride around and look around, and, you know, there's no safe turns really 100%. There might be a few where if you you low side the bike or something. It's a nice field. There's no phone poles. There's no light posts. There's no guardrail. And you just slide off into the abyss and brush yourself off and maybe straighten some things out on a bike, and you ride home. Everything works out nice. That's not most turns. So, and then as Jay said, never ride anywhere at 100% of your ability, especially in turns. Not 100% of what the bike could do, not 100% of what you could do, but just don't ride it 100% at any time. Because if you're in a turn and you're riding at 100% of your ability, what's one little drop of oil or 100% of the bike's ability, and you've matched that, which I don't know too many people that can do that. There are some. They're mostly on a racetrack and they get paid to do that. But for most of us, these bikes are far ahead of what most of us are ever going to ride to. But having that said, if you're really honking around a turn and you're using everything you've got to get around that turn, one little drop of oil you never would see on a pre-ride of that turn. You would never, anything is going to take you out of your line using, 100% of it. You're going to have a bad moment because you're going to go out of that line whether you chose to, because there's that stone that you were going, or that drop of oil you didn't see caused the front end or the back end to wash out. So, the numbers are different. People are different, but the thing is, even 50% of your ability, or 50% of what you know that you could do, is pretty damn safe. You can learn a lot of techniques not going full-blown. You want to go full out, it's good to go to a track if you can. And even then, tracks aren't perfect, but the street is not. But some will go 60% of their ability, some will go 70. You get up around 80, you're writing a lot of checks that you may not be able to cash. So, and we do a lot of things, SJ and I. And you can say, well, we've watched your videos. We've seen you do the very thing you're telling us not to do. You're right. Do as I say, not as I do. It's all about learning the pitfalls, trying to do the right thing first, and then, we're all adults. You swing that leg over that bike, and you don't know, you haven't thought about, Jesus, is this going to be my last ride? You know what you're getting into, or at least we'd like everybody to know what they're getting into. And that's why even the roads you do know, the roads that you're going to practice on, the parking lots even that you're going to practice on, emergency braking and maneuvering, just be careful wherever you're practicing. You can write a bad check, and that check bouncing will get you hurt.
Well, guys, basically what it comes down to is we're old enough, we're ugly enough, we know what we're doing, like hubby says, when we swing that leg over that bike. We know the dangers, we know everything that comes with it. But when you ride on roads that you do know, and we, as hubby said, are just as guilty as the next person of riding maybe a little above the percentage we should be, whether it be going straight or in turns. And admitting as a motorcyclist, sometimes that's hard. We all been there. I mean, you try to do good, you try to do right, but once in a while, you just gotta have a little fun. But in doing so, when we do that, guys, neither hubby nor I are at 100% of our limit or the bike's limit. We keep it down anywhere. I think the most you could say we'll probably go is maybe 80%, and that's not good either, but we still give ourselves that out if we need it. So, Anybody that wants to say you guys are preaching but you do, well, we all do. I'm not saying I'm perfect, and hubby's not saying he's perfect. We're just saying that if you are going to get a little frisky on roads, you know, don't take it to 100% of you or the bike's ability. Keep that nice little leeway just in case something happens on that road that you weren't expecting, even though you've ridden it 20 million times and have ripped it. It only takes one time to make you have a really bad day. And the whole object, like hubby says, is to make it home safe so you can ride another day.